By the end of this course, you'll be able to create exactly this sort of setup for your food business. Let's dive in.
Before we dive in and set up your online ordering system inside Square, there are 3 items that I recommend having or prepping beforehand. The first item is this brand guide. Here you can see we're going to be entering these colors, these hex colors specifically, as well as these different fonts for the online ordering setup. The second item I recommend having is your menu completely typed out in a Google Doc. We provided this template for you that you can easily fill in with your own items. So here we've highlighted the different categories in yellow and the different items right below it. So here we've set up items, descriptions, variations, perfect if you offer an item in different sizes, as well as modifiers. For example, here we have protein choice and different milk options. I love working with modifiers because it gives us flexibility on certain items that we can hide and display. So for example, if you want to hide something in your point of sale, but display it in your online ordering and vice versa, you can do that with modifiers. You can also have one group and then hide it for specific items. So it's nice to have that flexibility. I'll explain more once we're in Square's back end, but for now, I just recommend having it ready and also a note or somewhere where you can put any details. For example, this specific item, has a specific prep time of 2 hours versus our regular 15 minutes. Now, the third item I recommend having is your images ready to go. So here I have my images renamed. So I recommend renaming in your file manager, or here, if you have it on a Google Drive, you can click rename and rename to that item. The second thing you want to do is make sure that you compress your images. These were originally over 1 MB, and I use tiny PNG here, which you can use. It's free. Upload your image and then download the optimized images. Let's just make sure that your site loads quickly and your images aren't slowing your site down. Now to recap, these are the 3 items: your brand guide ready to go, your menu filled out, and your images renamed and optimized. Now we're ready to go on the back end of Square and upload your items. We're going to go to the Square dashboard, and then here on the left-hand side, we're going to click on Items and Services, click on Items, and click on Item Library. Here, we're going to click on Create an Item, and we're going to make sure that we select Prepared Food and Beverage. We're going to click Next. Now this is the screen where we're going to be adding all of the item details. In the first pass, I always like to add all of my items first and then bulk edit to modify and adjust any other options. So the four things I want to make sure I add first is the name, the price, the description, and an image. The rest of the fulfillment information, for example, fulfillment methods, any prep times, things like that, we can customize in bulk, and I like to do that once all of my items are entered. So we'll go ahead and start with the first option. We'll start with the first item. I'm going to go and enter my green power bowl. Add the name, the description, and I'm not going to enter a price since I have 2 different variations. I'll enter that right below. Right down here, I'm going to click Browse Files, and I'm going to select my item, click Open, and upload that. You can definitely add more than 1 image. We'll set up taxes and other details in a separate video. And just to note, you can add any nutritional information like calorie count, dietary preferences, as well as food allergens like these. I'm going to go ahead and add the variations next. So for this option, I'm going to click Add, and I'm going to click Add Option Sets. So this is best since we want to reuse the small and large in more than 1 item. So I'm going to click Add Option Sets. So here I'm going to do size, and I'm going to click Create New Set, and I'm going to do small and large. And I'm going to click Next. And I'm going to click Create. All right, and here's where we're going to enter the price. So a small is 14, a large is 17, and then I'm going to click Done. And we'll do modifiers in a separate screen. So to recap, we're going to enter the name, the description, image, and pricing and or variation. And then I'm gonna click save. And then I'm gonna add the next item, which is our tropical bowl. I'm gonna click create item, name, description, and price. Variation, I'm gonna click add. Now that I've already added an option set, I'm just gonna click add option set, click size, click next, create, and you'll see that that automatically populates these. So one's 14, the large is 17. So I'm going to go ahead and follow the same step for the rest of the items. Oop, I forgot to add an image. I'm going to click browse files and tropical bowl, click open, and click save. Okay, so I've now added all of my bowls. The next items I'm going to be adding are my burritos. All right, so I've added all my burritos. I'm going to then move on to my smoothies. So these ones have a different option set. It's not small and large, it's regular and large. So these regular and large are not the same as small and large. So for that, I'm going to click a different option set. So tropical mango smoothie, it's right there, the description. So now for smoothies, I'm going to add a different variation since it's not small and large. It is regular and large. I'm going to click add and then click on add option set. And then here I'm going to choose smoothie size. Click on create new set. And that is going to be regular. And for display name, you can choose a different name if I just want to do size, but I'm just going to make it the same thing. And it's optional, you don't have to. So it's just there. I'm going to click next and click create and regular and large. And regular is 7 and large is 9. And I'm going to click done and click save. And I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of the smoothie items. I forgot to add the green energy smoothie, so I'm going to click on it and click browse files and add the image and click save. Okay, and the last one is the sunrise citrus smoothie. Click create item, prepared food and beverage, name, description, and variation. Add option sets, smoothie size, click next, create, and enter the price. Make sure that I add the image, open, and click save. Okay, now our entire menu is added. Next, we're going to create the different modifiers. Referencing our menu, we know that we're going to have two different sets of modifiers. We're going to have protein choices. These are the choices that apply to the bowls, and then the milk options, which apply to the smoothies. So I'm going to go ahead on the back end and go under items and click modifiers. Here, I'm going to click on create a modifier, and I'm going to create the first set, which is going to be the protein choice. And we have the option to select a list or a modifier, but this one allows us for the user to select a list of choices. That's the one we want. You can select different channels and locations, but we'll worry about that later. For now, we're just going to set the list. We're going to do the protein choice, chicken, steak, and chickpea protein. Now, if you want to add a price add-on, you can select that, and you can customize how it shows differently on your kitchen display and also availability. Right below the modifier list, we have different selection rules we can enable and different settings. The selection rules, we can always override them at the item level. This applies more so at the set level. So we want to make sure, for example, that we require a selection on all of them. Since we are making the food and we want to know what protein they selected, we are not going to allow more than one modifier to be selected. This would mean that they can do two choices of chicken and steak. I recommend this more for, or I've seen this more for like if you're selling like half a dozen cupcakes and you want to have them be able to select up to 3 choices, for example. You can enable that, and you can also set a minimum and a maximum. But for this purpose and for this menu, we're not going to be using that feature. These different settings apply more for your point of sale and receipts, so you can select those if you would like, but for our online ordering setup, we're just going to make sure that we have the modifier list and that we require a selection. Another thing to note too, we want to make sure that when we click edit, that our website is enabled. I'm going to click on save to save the modifier list. And up next, I'm going to create the milk option modifier that applies to smoothies. So I'm going to click on create a modifier. We're going to have milk options. And I'm going to add the modifier list. You can also pre-select certain items here for now. And then I'm going to select require a selection. Okay, we've set up both of our modifiers. The next thing I'm going to do is apply them to the items. So here I'm going to click for the protein choice. I'm going to click on apply to items. And I'm going to go through and I can either start typing so I know that those are going to go to the bowls. So I'm going to type in bowl and select these four and click apply to items. All right, I'm going to do the same thing with the milk options. I'm going to go and click apply to items and I'm going to start typing smoothies. And then once the ones that I want to apply it to are shown, I'm going to select them and click apply to items. All right, so now we've applied the modifiers to the different items. So far, we've added our items under item library. We've added our modifiers and applied them to their respective items. Now we're going to go ahead and set up our categories. I'm going to go on the left-hand side, right under modifiers, and click on categories. So something to know about categories is that they're used primarily for printer routing and sales reporting. They don't affect how your menu shows up on your online ordering. To create our first category, I'm going to click Create Category. And referencing our menu, we have these different categories in yellow. So I have my protein bowls, burritos, and smoothies. So I'm going to go ahead and add my protein bowl. And then I'm going to click Add under Items. I'm going to click Bowl and select all four and click Done. And then I can select Sales Channel and enable. You can enable that or disable it if you like. I'm just going to leave it as is and I'm going to click Save. I'm going to go ahead and create my other category. Add burritos. Select my items. Click Done and click Save. Now the third category is smoothies. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my items. Click Done and click Save. All right, so I have my three categories, 4 items under each category. Now, after you've set up your categories, I recommend setting up your menu. So your menu is what's going to control your online ordering page and how your menu displays your items. We're going to go ahead on the left-hand side, scroll down under settings and click on menus. If you can't find any of these things where I've mentioned or where you see them on my screen, I would simply click search and type in menu and that should take you there. So we're going to click on menus and we land in the same spot. So here, if you want to watch this video, it gives you information on setting up square menus. We're going to dive in and click on create your first menu. And here we can just click on use your existing categories. That's the reason why I like setting up the categories. It just helps us to organize our items and also we can pull directly from them. So I'm going to click on use your existing categories. We're going to give this a name. So we're going to call it our regular menu or Vida Verde menu, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to click next. And then here we can select the categories. I want all three, so I'm going to select them and click next. And then here it says it's not visible to customers. So on the channels, I'm going to click edit. And I do not have my website set up, so we're going to come back and enable it once we've set up the site. For now, we can just leave it as is. The same goes for hours. We'll set that up in a separate step. Right now, we're going to click save and make sure that our menus are displaying correctly. Now, the next step is that we're going to go ahead and set up the Square Online ordering page so you can see how all of this comes together. To set up our Square Online ordering page, we're going to go under here and go on Square Online. We're going to click Square Online. Now in Square Online, if you already have started a website, you will see that website. So you can just go into the editor. But for this example, I'm going to create a new site from scratch so you can see how the setup or the workflow goes. I'm going to click New Site, and I'm going to call it Verde Vida, and click Continue. I'm going to skip for now. I'm going to keep that. You can either skip or just click Continue and wait for the new site to load. If your site gets stuck like mine currently is, I'm going to go ahead and reload and exit out. And I will see that it did create that site. So I'm going to click into it. And this is what it should have reloaded and showed me. But doing it that way, you'll be able to access it. So this is what we should see. And on the back end, I'm going to go right under website and click editor. Here, you want to make sure you select this free basic site. We're going to click select. So on the editor here, we can click here and toggle between desktop and mobile. I like to start off working on desktop, but keep in mind that most of your visitors are going to be in mobile. Desktop is just easier for editing. So the first thing I'm actually going to do is set the online ordering page to be the home page. So I'm going to click on here where it says home. I'm going to go to order online, click on these little three dots, and click on make this my home page. It says here that's successfully changed, so I'm going to click on it. Now this page should look like this with the item list, like so. If your page looks different, you can go ahead and click on this gear icon here and click on switch template. So Square has two page types. Shop All is for retail, and you want to make sure that we select order online that has the restaurant features we're going to be using. So make sure it's set to order online, and we're going to click done. So your page should look like this. Now we can click on the banner and we have the option of hiding the banner. So we can click on these three dots and click hide section. And that way our item list is the only thing that shows. Now, once you set up the online ordering page, I'm going to click done. I'm going to go back to my menu. I'm going to go back to home and go to menu under items and services and menus. So from here, the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to click into the regular menu. Then I'm going to click on these three little dots and I'm going to click edit menu. So now that we've set up our Square site for our online ordering page, we want to make sure that it's enabled in the channel, that that channel is selected or that website is selected under the list of channels. We're going to click on edit, and here is Verde Vida demo. So I'm going to make sure that that is selected. So I've selected it and I'm going to click save. Now, there are a couple of things that we need to do before we can have our item show up on the Square ordering page. We need to go back through the items and go through the fulfillment settings. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. From our item library, we're going to select all. We're going to click actions, and we're going to do three things. We're going to first update site visibility. We're going to make sure that that's visible. So under here it says will be visible and available for purchase on your site. We're going to click update. Next, we're going to go back to actions and we're going to click on update sales channels. Here, we want to make sure that the sales our website is the selected, and we're going to click update. Okay, I'm going to go back to actions, and then I'm going to click on update fulfillment methods. Here, I'm going to deselect shipping, and I'm going to set up or enable pickup and local delivery. And I'm going to click update. So now at the item level, we've updated site visibility, channels, and fulfillment. Those are the three things you want to make sure that they're set. And you can also bulk edit by selecting this right next to item, selecting all items, and then clicking edit items. Now we can click on attributes and make sure that the locations, channels, and online fulfillment are selected. So we can go ahead and check that. So we've gone ahead and there are a couple of items, now that I'm looking at it, I want to make sure that they're prepared food and beverage. Prepared food and beverage, you want to check that to make sure it's displayed correctly. Right, so they're all selected, prepared food and beverage. We've gone ahead, the prices are there. Now, if I go ahead and move through, you can also bulk edit dietary preferences as well as contains the following. I like this screen just because you can see everything and it's easier to do it in bulk, in my opinion, rather than going through each one and having to open and close and save. This just makes it easier and can save you some time. The thing we find most is that a lot of the times, or the reason why some items aren't showing, is because the online fulfillment, the channels, and the fulfillment is not set up correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that you can see all of these should show to selected, pickup and delivery, and then the channels are selected, the website is selected, and that the listing status is set as listed. Here we have prep time, so you can set custom prep time at the item level. We've set it to use location default, and I'll go ahead and show you where that setting is set. So I'm going to click update 9 variations. And so we've checked those three things. The next thing we're going to do is go ahead and go through our fulfillment settings. So at the item level, we've set up pickup and delivery, but now we want to make sure that the prep time, the availability is all set. So I'm going to actually click on search and I'm going to click on fulfill, or I'm going to type in fulfillment. I'm going to go through fulfillment settings, and we're not going to do shipping. We're going to go to online pickup and delivery. So you're going to want to click on that. And here is where we want to click edit. And here are the things we're going to go through and make sure we have selected. Do you want to offer pickup? Yes. Calculate and assign times automatically. I'm going to say yes. You can select no, and it'll remove some of the options. But for this demo, we're going to select yes. So we're going to set some hours and we're going to be able to offer the fulfillment anytime during those hours. So I'm going to click yes. And here we have two options. Buyers pick a time within my pickup hours. And then the question is, if a customer places an order during your fulfillment hours, when is the soonest? The same day they place an order. The next question, do you start preparing orders as soon as they are received? So I'm going to select this one. That is most of the use cases for food trucks or businesses that have certain set hours. The next question is, how much time do you need to prepare an order for a pickup or delivery? We're going to select 15 minutes. And you can also toggle this if you want to allow customers to schedule pickup orders, and you can set the number of days that they can order ahead. You can also limit the orders that can be picked up at any time. So if you select it, you can set the limit to say allow X pickups every 15 minutes. On the Square point of sale, you can always pause online ordering. So that's what most clients that we work with, that's what they do. And now for workflow. When should pickup and delivery order print tickets? Most of the time, it's based on the pickup and delivery time. When they select this, print order tickets when the order is placed, sometimes it can be confusing because people might not look at the time and start prepping the order. So this one bases it on on the pickup and delivery time. Okay, fulfillment hours. So this is when we're planning to fulfill the order. So we are open 10 to 6. So I'm going to select it 10 to 6. Monday through Saturday and closed on Sunday. 10 to 6. And some people choose to set the time like 15 minutes before they close, so it's completely up to you. You can always modify this. So I'm actually going to set 10 to 4 for Saturday. So here is where you can restrict certain dates. I'm going to say that we're closed on 4th of July every year and Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. Go through, set my dates, the 24th and the 25th, and make sure to repeat every year. Okay, you can enable curbside pickup, also a minimum order amount, and pickup instructions. For pickup instructions, we're going to say, walk up to the counter, give us your name, and we'll have your order ready. You can set whichever pickup instructions you would like. Right? Once you've gone through and completed the fulfillment questions, we're going to click on Save. Okay. Now I want to make sure, one thing to note, the site visibility is set to 0 sites. So I'm going to go back and click Edit and go to Site Visibility and make sure that this site is selected. As you can see, there's a couple of places that you need to make sure that the site is selected in the fulfillment settings, in the item settings, and third on the menu. So let me go ahead and show you that. I'm going to click Save. Type in menu. We're going to go back to the menu, click into the menu, and next I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the settings here are set up correctly. So I'm going to click on these 3 little dots. I'm going to click Edit Menu. And next, I'm going to make sure that the channel is selected. I'm going to click Edit. And here, I'm going to click on the site here, or Verde Vida, and I'm going to click Save. So as you saw at the item level, at the fulfillment settings, and in the menu, all of them need to have the site selected or else your items will not show. Once we've gone through and edited the fulfillment settings and enable the menu on the Square site, I'm going to go back to our Square online and reload our page. All right, and here is our menu. All right. Up next, I'm going to show you how we can customize this to match the look and feel of your brand. To customize our online ordering page, we're going to refer back to our brand guide here. Here's the different colors and fonts. So I'm going to go back to my Square site. I'm going to click Done. I'm going to click on Site Design. And here you can see the different site styles. You can change site styles by selecting any of these different presets, but I'm going to go ahead and set them manually. To add my logo, I'm going to click on Add Image right next to Logo. I'm going to drag my logo file, and here's my logo, and then I'm going to click Done. See, that's my logo right there. I'm going to go ahead and click into it, and I can click on Edit Size and make it nice and big. And click Done. All right, next up, I'm going to go ahead and go back to Site Design and set my colors. So here, main color. I'm going to set my main color here. Actually, I'm going to set this as my main color. Select that. And then I'm going to add my secondary colors. I personally like to include all of my colors and secondary colors just so I can easily access them as well. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to continue just copying and pasting these hex codes here. Once you set your colors, you can then go ahead and set the different color styles. So these color styles are what you're going to be able to use in the different sections throughout your website. It automatically does this for you, but you can click in any of these set styles and further customize like title, paragraph, and button color. I'm going to go ahead and keep these light. For these options, I really want to make sure that my button pops. So for one of these two, I'm going to click a solid button. I'm going to set that color and I'm going to do the same thing. Oh, some items will show this color won't be legible on your background. So I'll just keep that one and then do the same thing for here too. I'm going to do one of these two options. I'm going to select solid button and select that color. And for title and paragraph, I want to use this color here. There we go. And you can see that as I go through, it changes. So this way you can preview the different colors, but I'll show you how you can go ahead and set it to one of these. So this is just a preview. Here, these ones are light. I'm going to do again the button so it stands out. And I'm not going to use this black one, so I'm just going to go ahead and make it the darkest one of my palette. And the solid button, make sure that that stands out. and see if I can select it. Yep, I can select it for my outline. So here I've gone ahead and further customized the color styles using the different color options here. I'm going to go ahead and click done. And then I'm going to go ahead and set my fonts. I'm going to go click into fonts, and you can click into here and you can choose any of these prepared fonts. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and select the fonts here. Once we've set the fonts, I'll come back and modify the font sizes. So here for headlines, we have Montserrat and Laura. So I'm going to click here, type in Montserrat. Actually, I can't type it in, so I'm going to scroll down, and there we go. And we're going to set semi-bold. Something to note too, in these font styles, you get one more options than the font pairing options here. Once you've set your headlines, you can further customize the weight and the line height and the letter spacing. Next up, I'm going to do titles, and I'm going to use the same font. So I'm going to go to M, and keep it bold. And then paragraphs. For paragraphs, we have Laura. So I'm going to go ahead and look for Laura. There we go. I'm going to set the weight as normal. You can see line height. I'm going to do 1.5 or 1.4. You can always click on reset to default if you want to go ahead and reset the font styles too. I'm going to leave letter spacing as is. And for labels, I'm going to go ahead and make that Montserrat as well. Into it. Okay, so now we've set the fonts, and I'm going to go and change the font a little bit bigger. So font size, and then the scale. What the scale is going to do is going to actually change how big these headlines and titles are. So I'm going to do actually 1.3. All right, and I'm going to click done. So now we've set our logo, our colors, and our fonts. Next, for our buttons, we can go ahead and look at the button here and see we can set to sharp, rounded, or pill. I personally like the pill. And same for the images, we can set, you can see here, sharp or rounded. I like the rounded, so I'm going to click done. Now these site elements, you will need to upgrade your square plan if you want to use them. For this demo, I'm not going to use them. I'm just going to use the settings that we have here. I'm going to click done, and I'm going to go back to my item list, and now you can go ahead and see that the different color style options are selected here. So we can just choose them and modify them like so. So here we can choose between this one and this style here. I'm going to choose this one here. I'm going to go to the top, and for this one, we can go ahead and set the color style too. So now that you've set the background color for the item list and the header, I like to make this part of the list stand out. So we can click into it, and then you'll see that the category menu, you can make all caps, and you can change the paragraph or the font styles. I like to make them bold and either title 3 or 4, so it really stands out. I like to also change the background color. So I'm going to click into this and choose a color that stands out. I can either do something bold like this or keep it smooth. Let's go ahead and do this option here so you can see. Go. Now, if you wanted to change the font color, you can. You can click here, right next to, right under the style, and it doesn't let us choose this color just because it says it won't be legible. So I'm going to just leave it as is. So that's one way you can further customize this. You can click here, and if you click any elements, so for example, we clicked on the search, it'll open more settings that you can customize on the left-hand side. So here we can change the color if you wanted to. I'm just going to leave it as is, or we can click on it so it doesn't allow the search functionality. Our menu isn't pretty big, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it. You can toggle it on and off. And then as you go further down, you can further customize the item card. So if you wanted to add a little more background color, you can do that. If you want to change the border, you can go ahead and change the color of the border as well. I'm going to try something. I'm actually going to set the background here to this darker color here, and then I'm going to change the background cards to white and see, there we go, and change the border to this light color and then click preview. As you can see, the items really stand out now. I'm going to click close preview, and you can go further down, change the font styles for the items. I'm going to leave that as title 4. Same for item prices and item descriptions. Next, we're going to click on the item view. Here you can see how the pop-up that lets people customize their order and add to cart looks like. We can go ahead and select any of these aspect ratios. I personally like either the 3:2 or 1:1. So I'm going to select 3:2 aspect ratio. Next up, we're going to look at item images. I'm going to click on item images. You can see that you can customize the image shape if you have a pro plan or subscribe to a paid plan. But you can also, on the free plan, you can change the aspect ratio. So here you can see this changes the aspect ratio to the online ordering card. And you can set to crop or scale. All right, so for this example, I'm just going to leave this as is. I'm going to click done. And I'm going to show you when I click into the section, into the item list, the different display options. So here, this is the default layout, but you can choose between that one or this one. This one is my personal favorite because the items are really highlighted. You can see the images nice and clearly. This one here, it's just a category. This is text only. And this is also text only. So these two are what I would recommend using. I'm going to select this one, and you can further customize alignment. I like to keep left align. You can select 3 or 4. I'll leave at 4. And you can go ahead and further, you'll see the options to further customize. So I'm going to click done. I'm going to click on preview, and there you go. We have customized the online ordering page.